You know that feeling when you rewatch a horror movie and suddenly everything hits different? The clues were right there the whole time. The foreshadowing was hiding in plain sight. That moment you thought was random, yeah, it meant everything. Today we're counting down the top 10 horror movies that are genuinely better the second time you watch them. And fair warning, we will be getting into spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen these yet, maybe watch them first and come back. You'll thank me later. Number 10. The Village, 2004. Look, The Village gets a bad reputation, and most of that comes from people who only saw it once. On a rewatch, you realise how carefully M. Night Shyamalan constructed every single scene around the secret the whole film is hiding. The costumes, the conversations, the way certain characters react to things. It all makes perfect sense once you know the truth. It's honestly a much better film than people give it credit for. Number 9. Us, 2019. Jordan Peele hid the ending of Us in plain sight from the very first scene. The opening monologue, the hands across America footage, the way Adelaide moves. It's all right there. On a first watch, you're gripped by the tension. On a second watch, you're genuinely floored by how much Peele trusted his audience to pick up on details most people completely missed. Red's dialogue especially takes on a whole new meaning. Number 8. Midsommar, 2019. We talked about Midsommar in our last video, but it absolutely belongs here too. The paintings and tapestries hanging on the walls of the commune literally depict every major event in the film before it happens. On your first watch, you're too busy soaking in the unsettling atmosphere to notice. On a rewatch, you're just sitting there, watching the characters walk past their own fate hanging on the wall. It's genuinely brilliant filmmaking. Number 7. Saw, 2004. The original Saw is a masterpiece of misdirection. The entire film takes place in one room, with a dead body lying on the floor. Except it's not dead, and the movie never technically lies to you about it. On a rewatch, every single scene with that body in the background becomes almost unbearably tense, because you know what's coming. James Wan pulled off one of the greatest twists in horror history on a tiny budget. Respect. Number 6. Hereditary, 2018. Our number 1 from the last video shows up again. Because Hereditary on a rewatch is a completely different experience. Once you know what Paimon is and what the cult has been doing to this family for generations, every weird detail in the background suddenly makes your skin crawl. The symbol carved into the walls, the sleepwalking, the way certain characters behave. Ari Aster hid a complete second story in plain sight. Absolutely terrifying on rewatch. Number 5. The Sixth Sense, 1999. Maybe the most famous rewatch movie ever made. M. Night Shyamalan plays completely fair with the audience. Every rule of the twist is established early in the film. On a rewatch, you notice that Malcolm never actually interacts with anyone except Cole the entire movie. No one talks to him. No one acknowledges him. The clues are so obvious in hindsight that you almost can't believe you missed them. A stone-cold classic. Number 4. Get Out, 2017. Jordan Peele makes the list twice, and honestly, he deserves it. Get Out on a rewatch is almost unbearable, because every uncomfortable moment in the first act, every weird comment, every strange behaviour, every red flag Chris ignores, is the movie screaming at you that something is deeply wrong. The hypnosis scene with Rose's mum hits completely differently when you know what she's actually doing to him. Peele is just built different as a filmmaker. Number 3. Parasite, 2019. Yes, Parasite is technically a thriller, but it earns its place on this horror list because the second half is genuinely terrifying. On a rewatch, the entire first act feels like watching a slow-motion car crash. You know exactly where everything is heading, and the dread is overwhelming. Bong Joon-ho plants every plot point so carefully that a second viewing almost feels like watching a different movie. The smell metaphor alone takes on a whole new dimension. Number 2. Cabin in the Woods, 2012. Cabin in the Woods is one of the most rewatchable horror films ever made because it operates on 2 completely different levels simultaneously. On a first watch, you experience it as a horror movie. On a second watch, you realise it's actually a genius deconstruction of every horror trope ever made. And every detail in the facility scenes takes on a completely new meaning. The whiteboard alone is worth pausing on for 5 minutes. Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon made something genuinely special here. Number 1. Psycho, 1960. Alfred Hitchcock invented the rewatch movie with Psycho. When it was first released in 1960, Hitchcock actually banned latecomers from entering the theatre mid-screening, because the film only works if you experience it from the beginning. The reason is simple. Marion Crane appears to be the main character for the entire first act, and then Hitchcock kills her off. On a rewatch, you see the entire first act through a completely different lens. You notice Norman's behaviour, the way he watches her, the things he says. It is the original twist ending, and it still holds up 60 years later. Nothing has ever quite matched the audacity of what Hitchcock pulled off in that shower scene. Number 1, no debate. So those are the top 10 horror movies that hit completely differently on a second watch. Honestly, if you've only seen any of these once you're doing yourself a disservice, go back and rewatch them this weekend. And if you think I missed one, because I know some of you are already typing in the comments, drop it below. I genuinely want to know which horror movie broke your brain on a rewatch. Subscribe for more of this. New video dropping soon.